Ron James was atop of that list. He unseated Conor McGregor and a top 5 only NBA player, if you see here. Oh, yeah, we got the list on the board. This is some crazy money when you put it into perspective.
So that's, okay, earnings based on salary, winnings, and endorsements, and this is per year.
Yes, this is per year. Naomi was the highest woman on the list at number 20 with $53.2 million in earnings. And then Tom Brady was number 16 at $58.4 million, which is crazy to think. He's that low on the list.
Oh, just a casual $54 million.
Just a casual. That's 16. But you forget these European soccer players make so much money. It is next level. We're talking about big contracts here. The contracts overseas are mind blowing.
And the
Absolutely
endorsements.
Yeah,
that's can we see that list again? I took it down too soon. I was evaluating something. Okay, so Roger Federer is at 8.
Yes.
Tennis, obviously.
Tennis.
And Canelo Alvarez as a boxer at 89. And then you have Tiger up there still. So no football players in the top 10.
No.
Well, American football players, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
I would have to imagine, is Brady, at number 16, would he be the top? You would think.
It's not terribly surprising that LeBron is at the top still. And that's why when people talk about, why are the Lakers still in the conversation? Why are they still so relevant? Why are we talking about them? This is why. Like, LeBron James is still the superstar of the world.
International superstar.
He's still the biggest guy.
Yes.
He's still the biggest brands.
Yes.
Brands still feel like he's the biggest guy.
And this is proof that he is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's an interesting list.
Yeah.
127, huh?
Mm-hmm. NBD.
It's good checks.
It's a little chub change.
That's Alex Curry with the news.
Well, that's the news.
And thanks for stopping by.
The Herd Lie News.
So we'll get to RJ Young, Fox Sports college football analyst, in just a few minutes. I don't know if he agrees with me about all the NIL stuff or not, but we'll pick his brain about everything that's happening with that. A lot of quotes coming from different coaches about how to handle everything. But we were just talking about Brooklyn, and Sean Marks talked a lot about, their off season and, how everything is gone. He talked about Kyrie. And he talked about Kevin Durant, and he had another. I actually appreciated his quote about Kyrie. It gave some insight into at least where they are mentally with the organization and with everything that's happened with Kyrie. But then he just went back with it with this comment about Kevin Durant, and here he is on KD being their best player development coach.
I think Kevin Durant is our best player development coach. Like, if you watch him and how he competes in practice and how he competes in shoot-arounds, everything is game speed. Just follow him. I can imagine when I was a 19, 20-year-old kid, having the opportunity to, play alongside or shoot in the same drill as a guy like Kevin or Kai, and you see that they go at game speed and you see how they want to master their craft. That's pretty special.
Yeah, but they're not Kevin Durant. So that's the difference. The reason why Kevin Durant can do that is because he's Kevin Durant, one of the all-time greatest players in NBA history. So yes, should you mirror what someone like Kevin Durant does, the effort level that he gives, the speed in which he practices, all those things, yes. But this is my problem with how the Nets word things. It matters. They do have quite a few actual development coaches, assistant coaches on the team. And this has been the mantra with the Nets from the beginning of this whole experiment. This is Kyrie and KD on not needing a coach.
Coach, he said I was the first person to call him Coach Nash, but I call him Steve. Steve is great, and I have a relationship with him that's going to build over time, bro. And I think it's also going to change the way we see coaches. I don't really see us having a head coach. You know what I mean? Like, KD could be a head coach. I could be a head coach.
Jacques Vaughn could do it one day. It's a collaborative effort, I think, on our part.
No, it's not. You got swept in the first round and you were a 7 seed. So clearly you need some coaching. Proves absolutely nothing. Not reinventing how basketball is done. Coaches have actual jobs and real roles. And good coaching is being exhibited in this postseason at the highest level and why it's necessary. It completely undermines Steve Nash. This comment by Sean Marks undermines everything else that the Nets are doing. You are not developing anything. You are not building anything. Good, well-run organizations actually have excellent player development coaches. You see that with the Warriors. They take young players and develop them into the best version of what they are. They don't take young players and turn them into Kevin Durant because there's only one Kevin Durant. These players are not running scouts. They're not putting together game plans and rotations. They're not studying analytics. There are jobs for this. We see this time and time again with organizations who try and come out here and do this. How has this worked out for the Cowboys, Jerry Jones being involved in everything that's going on? They've won 3 playoff games in 25 years. There are specific roles within organizations that lead you to success. Anything that is well run and produces success is because great people are in their roles and do it to the highest level. And people trust them to do their jobs. They trust the coach to be the coach. They trust the player development coaches for their nutritional plans and for their rehab plans and for their training plans and to read their scouts and study what they're supposed to do in each game. It's not a flippant thing to say that we have no structure within our organization when it comes to coaching. Or you could do what you do and you got swept in the first round. So that option is also on the table. Let's talk to RJ Young on if name, image, and likeness rights are a good or bad thing for college sports. One of the more disappointing seasons in Lakers history. And obviously, people get a little upset that we give the Lakers any time considering how dysfunctional they are and the fact that they're not in the playoffs. But it's still LeBron James and it's a big deal. And the Lakers are a big deal. And we're in the midst of their very important offseason in trying to find a new coach and deciding what they're going to do with this lineup, which obviously does not work. And Jeannie Buss did an interview with Bill Plaschke this week where she talked about her responsibility as an owner and some of the people that she is going to be getting advice from. And Phil Jackson is one of those people. And obviously Phil knows, has forgotten more about basketball than I'll ever know. But that doesn't mean that he is the right person to make a decision for the Lakers at this point. And Bill Plaschke had some interesting insight into Phil Jackson's thinking for the Lakers' future.
I've heard that Phil would like LeBron traded. I've just heard that. But I've got nothing to back that up. No on-the-record stuff to back that up. But I think Phil, I do know that Phil would like them to keep Westbrook and try to make it work with him.
So I don't know how Lakers fans as a whole feel when they hear that. I will speak as a non-Lakers fan. I don't think that's a good idea, but for multiple reasons here. So, starting with the fact that I don't even want really Phil's opinion getting out. Phil does not work for the Los Angeles Lakers. He is not the GM of the Los Angeles Lakers. Obviously, Phil has deep roots with this team. But because you were once a part of something does not mean that you should have any sort of heavy weight in a decision of this magnitude. And here's the next problem that just happened with this speculation even getting out. If they do, for whatever reason, trade LeBron James, Phil Jackson is now going to be the person that is blamed or is going to hold responsibility for that decision, even if it wasn't his decision. And this is what happens when you have too many chefs in the kitchen. There's too many opinions being weighed here. Every friend does not need to have an opinion. When you're in a serious relationship, there's a pretty understood rule if you want to have success in that relationship. You can't get advice from too many people, and everybody can't know your problems. What happens when you start doing that? As soon as you start telling this friend and that friend and your mom and your aunts and your cousin and their friends, oh, we're going through this, we're going through that. Well, now everybody knows and everyone has an opinion. And when it doesn't work, no one's going to take responsibility for it not working, but everyone's going to have a say in what happens. You can't have this many people giving an opinion. And from the outside looking in, my perspective on it is that this is unethical. Phil's not responsible for anybody in that building. He's making choices, or not choices, but he's giving strong opinions to the owner of the team, and Jeannie Buss, who has a very long-standing relationship with, a very serious relationship with, about people and their future that he does not have to answer to. He doesn't work for the Lakers. It's one thing to get a passerby opinion. Hey, what do you think about this player? You think he fits what we do? You think his personality fits our culture? What do you think about this coach? You think his style will work with the players we have? That's one thing. But to talk about adjusting your roster at the level of trading LeBron James and keeping Russell Westbrook, whether this is true or not, the speculation of it even getting out is so dangerous, and the implications of what could happen from that are catastrophic. There should not be this many people giving opinions about the Lakers. One person, the GM, should be making these decisions with the consultation of Jeannie Buss, who should not be making basketball decisions, which she has said she doesn't want to make basketball decisions. She makes business decisions. She is the final say. You ask Rob Pelinka. Rob Pelinka makes the decision. Whatever happens, happens. And then you know who to hold responsible for what's gone on with the Lakers. Magic Johnson, Phil Jackson, the Rambuses, other advisors, LeBron, Clutch. How many people have to wait? And it's not even, we're not even hearing about Rob Pelinka. How many people have to weigh in on this situation? I just think it's insane. I think it is really, really a crazy way of doing things. You cannot have this many people weighing in at this level on what's going on with the future of the Lakers. Trade LeBron James? Even if this wasn't Phil's idea, like the fact that it's out now, are we supposed to hold Phil Jackson responsible if LeBron James is not with the Lakers anymore? He doesn't even work for the Lakers. I don't know. Let's get to Natalie Eggenolf, 76ers reporter. Also covered the Raptors for 3 seasons as well. Kelsey, thanks so much for joining us today. I'm sure you are exhausted after